Live from the KWQC Broadcast Center in downtown Davenport with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel. This is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, paving the way for accessible travel. The Quad Cities is celebrating a new global designation, making it easier than ever for travelers of all abilities to explore the area with confidence. Creating opportunities through music. Quad Cities Music Therapy is doing just that, helping children and adults with special needs improve their quality of life in a variety of ways. What details on the organization's music lessons, as well as their enrichment programs coming up. And fashion meets sustainability. We'll get to know Style Encore, a local resale boutique helping you save money on new-to-you items and make money on styles that you want to sell. Plus, expert advice on introducing intentional challenges at work, how that can spark innovation, engagement, as well as growth for both employers and organizations. Hello and welcome to a special potpourri edition of QCL. I'm Kyle Keel. My co-host Morgan Otier starts us off with a store stocked with sustainable styles.
Hey, if you love fashion, a great deal, and shopping sustainably, Style Encore is a resale store in Davenport with trendy options, a cash for clothes program, and a community-focused mission. Joining us today is owner Allison Weir, along with regional manager Alexis Schmidt. Ladies, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We have so much to get to and talk about. Allison, for viewers that haven't visited yet, talk about what exactly is Style Encore. How does it differ from its sister store, which is right next door, Plato's Closet?
Great. Yes, Style Encore is geared towards mid-20s on up. So our sister store, Plato's Closet, is geared more towards teen and 20 for guys and gals. And then the next stage for our customers in the community is for men and women, mid-20s on up.
Yeah. Mid-20s on up, so kind of more so catering to that. And do you notice a big, and this is maybe a silly question because I should know this, I'm pushing 40 here, but a big difference in, what customers want as far as, like you really see, Allison, a market for having these two separate stores?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we've noticed over the years of owning Plato's Closet, where customers, my age demographic, would love to shop in Plato's Closet, but we also couldn't sell because it's not our demographic clothing to purchase. So we felt that there was a gap in the community for years. So we're excited to be able to offer that. And we really were excited to be able to have it right next door for the benefit of our customers to go from one store to the other.
No, you are so right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Alexis, talk a little bit about how this is a little bit more than a secondhand store as we see these images on our screen. What makes the resale model of Style Encore stand out?
Yeah, so what makes us different is we pay cash the same day. So you don't have to wait for your items to sell. You can bring it in. It's all a same day process. So, we give us some time to go through the buy. Wait time usually ends up from 15 minutes up to an hour. But yeah, it's all a same day process. So you don't have to wait for those items to sell. So that's really what sets us apart. And then the fact that we're right next door to Plato's Closet, the teenagers can stop next door. Then, moms and dads can come next door to us and find a great selection.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, so explain that process a little more for us. So I've been through it with Plato's Closet before, so I sort of understand it. But so when somebody brings in their clothing to sell to you at Style Encore, for example, what happens after that? I drop my stuff off and then what?
Yeah, so you drop your items off. During that time, you can stay and shop around. We have lots of great items. We have a 70% off clearance sale going on right now. During that time, our buyers will go through each item individually, and then based on that label, style, and condition, we'll figure out which ones we are able to take from you. And then when you come back up, we'll have a cash offer ready for you, and then explain why we may have passed on any of the items. But yes, it's been super exciting, and especially, seeing more men coming into Style Encore now offers menswear. They didn't years ago, so that's been really exciting to add that on as well.
No, that's so great, especially too, because you guys don't hyper focus on what season it is.
Right.
Okay, So I love that because we are all, right? We are making that transition right now. Maybe I'm a little late to the game on it, but getting this stuff, you know, out of my closet and finding those items like, yes, I would love to hold on to this, but I really don't need to. You know, it's a great place to bring those items because, right, it's really hard to let go, I think, of clothing items. But if you know that you're taking it someplace where somebody's really looking at it and going, no, this is going to be great for somebody else, it kind of makes you feel better too. As opposed to just getting rid of it and never seeing it again. No, that's awesome. So describe the impact to the environment of you know, pursuing something like this as opposed to just continuing to shop new all the time.
Sure. So far in the couple months we've been open, we've already bought 58,000 items from from our community here locally, and our Plato's Closet location has bought over 1.5 million articles of clothing just from the Quad Cities community. So we're giving cash back to the community, we're keeping clothes out of landfills, and then whatever we're unable to purchase or whatever we clearance, we also donate to charitable organizations like Dress for Success, for example, and Turn 180 and several organizations within the community.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so yes, getting a lot of use for sure, as opposed to all of that ending up in the landfill. So let's talk fashion, Alexis. What types of things can we find on the rack at Style Encore? You guys actually, well, we've got shoes in front of us. So let's start there. You offer all kinds of accessories.
Yes, we have shoes, handbags, jewelry, lots of different accessories ranging from value items where, you know, maybe the price point starts around $6 up to, you know, high-end designer items like this Louis Vuitton here. But, you know, it's going to be a lot cheaper than it would be regular retail price. So yeah, we have a bunch of different designer, value, kind of all of the different price ranges. These ones are super cute. That's perfect for summer. Yes.
They're like little watermelon hills. I love this.
And those ones are only $25. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, we price everything 60 to 70% below the original retail price, and then our customers get 30 to 40% of what we sell it for. So yeah, we're just always trying to get that bang for the buck.
That's amazing. And so you brought this rack of beautiful items with you here today, like really cute stuff. You offer style sessions as well. So Allison, how does that work, and who would that be for?
Great. That's for anyone in the community. If they would like a style session, we do have a stylist, Lauren, in our store.
Oh, wow.
That she loves to do it, and it's free. You just go into the store, let her know that you're interested in a style session, and you can do it on the spot with her or schedule an appointment. And as long as you communicate kind of your size, your style, your coloring, she loves to go around the store and find outfits for you.
So cute.
And it's a great, fun experience.
Yeah, that's really great. Allison and Alexis, thank you so much for joining us today and just bringing all this stuff.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, a closer look at a local music program that's helping babies and toddlers grow through rhythm, song, and play. How Quad Cities Music Therapy is building brains and bonding families. Next.
Quad Cities Live continues.
We all know that kids love to sing, dance, and make a little noise, but did you know that music plays a powerful role in early childhood development, from language and motor skills to bonding with caregivers? A melody can be much more meaningful than you think. Joining us now is Misty Dice, the owner and director of Quad Cities Music Therapy. Misty, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thanks for being back. Yes, thanks for being here and bringing all this great stuff with you. I can't wait to get my hands on. But first, I want to get started with a little bit of background on QC Music Therapy. Why did you decide to get started in the first place, and just kind of talk about what the organization has grown into over the years?
Sure. Well, I'm a board certified music therapist, so about 7.5 years ago then I started the business out of my house, just seeing some private music therapy clients and then some music students as well for music lessons. And then in January, February of the next year, then we started our early childhood music program, and that has grown tremendously to the point that we have like 4 classes a week now, and we're adding another one soon in May. So we're excited about that, and just the impact that we're able to make in the community, and reaching the little ones and getting them started in a lifetime of music. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll put some of those class times on the screen right now, but let's talk a little bit more about that. We're focusing today on early childhood music therapy, and describe why it's so important and what kind of tools even babies can learn in something like this.
Right. So so even from early on, then the babies can learn to bond more with their families through music and sharing in that joy of song. You know, babies love the sound of their parents' singing voices, even if the parents are a little bit apprehensive themselves.
Yeah.
But you know, the more that we can encourage families to interact musically with their young ones, then the better the bond is going to be. And then also you're developing their neurological pathways and working on those language skills even at a very young age. And so all that interaction and the neurological development, motor development through playing the instruments can be really impactful even from 3 months on. So
yeah, that and I think that's absolutely incredible. I mean, I know that, you know, when, you know, I was pregnant with my daughter, they would say like, oh, she can hear you, or you can sing, or you can play music. So you do that because you think, well, maybe it'll do something, you know, before babies are born. But like, it's so crucial, like these early months and years of their lives. Why not give them this extra benefit? Talk a little bit more about how music can really support things like, I mean, motor development I can understand when they've got the instruments and things like that, but maybe just like the bonding aspect of it.
Well, sure. In our youngest classes, so this will be for like the 3 to 9 month old, 9 to 15 month olds, we're also, in addition to interacting musically with the children, we're giving them some ideas about how the parents can interact with them. So during tummy time, maybe we're putting some musical instruments in front of the little ones and encouraging the parents to lay down in front of them and sing to them. We do some picture songbooks as well, so then we're starting to have the parents interact musically with their little ones looking at books. And so we're layering on not only the music, but the language skills and the early literacy aspect of it as well. So that's creating that nice strong bond, and also giving the parents and caregivers some ideas of how they can use music at home. So if they're changing their little one's diaper, well, maybe they sing to them a song, and that distracts them from, you know, not being
rolling
happy
around
about
and being an alligator.
Exactly. You know, or I would have my little one in the car seat when we were driving somewhere, and if I would sing to them, then they would be a little bit calmer. You know, we didn't have the best drivers all the time. Riders in the car. So, you know, singing to them and getting them to interact musically kind of takes their mind off of not being happy about being in the car seat. So just the more that we can give families some ideas about how to use music in their own lives, the better off too.
That's great.
So we're making an impact not just in the classes, but in the home as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And as you alluded to, you offer different classes based on a child's age, and they're really broken down from, you know, very young babies. So walk us through a little bit about each of the age ranges and describe kind of what's unique to each group. So for example, you have one for 3 to 9 months old. So you just described this one. This is really where we're going to focus on how parents can use music to just interact with their little ones. Or you talked about tummy time and things like that. It just gives parents just an awful lot of ideas that they may not have before, because let's face it, when babies are really, really little, sometimes you don't know how to interact with them because they're still learning how to just be little humans.
Exactly.
So that's a big one. Then 9 to 15 months. So this is a really fun one.
Yes, they're starting to get moving, and so we're going to incorporate some more instruments that we wouldn't necessarily do with the babies. And then providing some opportunities for picture songbooks, and then also playing some different instruments and starting some beginning sign language too, so that the little ones are starting to be able to communicate what they're wanting to do. So that's really exciting to see.
Yes, and then finally 15 months until 4 years old. So they're learning a lot of stuff in this, not only musically, but also like academically and socially.
Yep, so we're starting to work on counting skills, so beginning math skills. We've got our 5 little monkeys here, which we were playing with earlier.
We were playing with. How can you not play with these
pretty fun.
little finger puppets?
So beginning counting, beginning language skills, and recognizing different colors and different letters and things with our picture songbooks that we're using. Identifying colors. A lot of different cognitive aspects are included then once you get into that a little bit older age range as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then social skills too.
Social skills, that's what I think is so cool, taking turns. Like that is something that you learn musically, so that's incredible. So talk a little bit about some of the activities that I guess kids love most.
And grown-ups. We love the finger puppets.
You know, in the class, I mean, I would have to assume like it would be getting their hands on some instruments.
Oh, absolutely. So we start off every group with a hello song, and we'll do it either with a ukulele or guitar and incorporate some instruments that way. So we're starting with those social skills right from the get-go, which is great. And they all love the ukulele, they all love the guitar, and get a chance to play that. We'll do some drumming every time as well, and that's so popular.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so popular.
better with you, right, sometimes than at home. But this is a good one.
Well,
This isn't like a drum set, you know.
Well, we have some of those too.
You have those too.
We've got some bigger ones too. But I like to tell the parents, you know, that you can do it here, and then you can leave the drums and go home, and then you don't have the drums at home, and the kids still get the opportunity to play them. So that's really fun. And then we'll have a number of different picture songbooks as well. Some of them, you know, that we could suggest to the families that they can purchase, or some that we develop on our own. And parachutes, scarves, all sorts of different things.
Everything.
So,
like,
yeah.
what fun, honestly. So Quad Cities Music Therapy, it is located on 7th Avenue in Moline. The address is right there on your screen along with the phone number. If you want to learn about classes and schedules, definitely visit them on the web at qcmusictherapy.com. You even have the opportunity in a lot of cases to try a class and see if it's right for you. So just a really great opportunity. Misty, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Coming up on Quad Cities Live, digging deeper into the world of composting. And for a look at how it's changing the way we think about waste management, the Davenport Compost Facility will join us with everything that we need to know next.
Quad Cities Live continues.
Turning food scraps, yard waste, and organic materials into rich, nutrient-dense soil. We're talking about composting, and Davenport actually has a compost facility to help you get started. Robin Dunn is with the City of Davenport and is joining us in the studio today. Robin, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us here.
Of course. Okay, so let's just start with the basics. Tell us a little bit about the Davenport Compost Facility, really what you do, what we can find there.
The Davenport Compost Facility is green recycling, and also we take the biosolids from the wastewater treatment process and mix those with the yard waste that we collect from the Scott County community and make beneficial compost and other soil amendment products.
Okay.
So basically on an annual basis, we're diverting like about 140,000 cubic yards of waste away from our landfill.
Wow.
To make beneficial products that people can use at their home.
That's great. That's amazing. And you know, we're very lucky. It's not every community where their city has like a component like this that we can utilize.
Right, there are very few. There's a few compost facilities in the state of Iowa, but from the perspective of biosolid composting with yard waste, there's actually a few nationally, which makes us unique, and we're pioneers.
I was gonna say, you are in that way, and with your history.
Right.
You guys are all about to celebrate a very big anniversary this fall.
Right. This fall we'll be celebrating 30 years, and we'll be actually have an open house that folks can come out, check out the composting process, our products, talk with staff, and just kind of check out our products. And
that's great. That's great, especially if you're somebody. I always use me as an example because me, who doesn't really know very much, but truly, it's a good opportunity to learn those things and utilize them. There's not really an excuse for not knowing all about it if you have all of these opportunities to go and learn and explore it.
Right.
And you all do a wonderful job of that. So yes, let's talk about your products and services, which you brought here today.
Yep.
Actually, five very different products here.
Exactly. So the first one we have, obviously this is the main component, compost. So this is a mixture of biosolids and yard waste.
Okay.
Basically, that material comes to us, it gets mixed together. It sits in our composting hall under managed and monitored air conditions for about 21 days, and then it goes to do further curing for another 30 days before that's ready to be used.
Where would you want to utilize this? Like, what can it help with?
The compost, this is really more of a soil amendment. You're going to want to you can use it for some things like soil quality restoration.
Okay.
We do have a lot of contractors in the area. People can do soil quality restoration on their own. So, aeration and then adding some of the compost to their soils and things like that. So it's really more of a soil amendment that you're going to mix in with your soils.
Okay.
And prices, we were just recently at the Home and Garden Show, in fact, and a lot of people recognize that our prices are really low. We are here just to take those two waste streams and produce natural products for the community.
That's wonderful.
So this is $2 a bag, and then $15 for a cubic yard for bulk. And then potting soil is way different. This is just yard waste.
Okay.
These are actually composted in windrows
Okay.
for about a year.
Oh, wow.
And so this is really just no biosolids in it. And this one runs $3 for a bag and $22 for a cubic yard.
Wonderful.
And then garden soil is actually a mixture of both our compost and our potting soil.
Okay.
Really great for raised garden beds,
I've heard people
potting, anything.
rave about this.
Okay.
Like, my gardens never looked better.
Right,
Like, I mean,
right.
truly, I was reading some testimonials about it.
Okay. Yep. I think you're going to find testimonials about every one of
Yeah.
our products. This has a little bit of sand mixed in with it too, so
Okay.
good for filtration and drainage and that
okay.
kind of thing. So garden soil is $4 a bag, and then $25 a cubic yard.
Wonderful.
And then our enhanced topsoil is actually an innovation out of COVID. We had run out of compost and some of our yard waste material. And so basically what this is it's a screened topsoil that's had a little bit of compost and then some sand added to it. This is really good for filling in holes, leveling out a yard.
Yep.
This one stays around. It was born out of COVID and a shortage of supplies, but we do actually have a lot of people that this is in demand, and so that product will continue.
Okay.
And that's only comes in cubic yards, and that's $30.
Okay.
And then our shredded mulch, basically it's just yard waste that
Perfect.
comes in, from the community. It's put through the shredder a couple of times, and again, that's going to come in cubic yards.
And
too.
that's one of the things that I have gone and purchased from you all in the past, because it's the perfect color and it's cheaper than you find in a lot of other places.
Right.
Just saying. One thing before we wrap it up with you today that I did not realize is if you don't have a pickup truck or a way to haul this stuff to your property, a lot of times that's okay, especially if you live on the Iowa side.
Right.
Okay, so you guys will do some delivery.
Yes, so we do delivery. If you go to davenportcompost.com, our delivery rates and where we deliver to are all on the website. We have 3 different types of delivery vehicles. So from a smaller load, with pickup truck size load, to a much larger load, we have farmers and other agency or groups within the community that use our products. So we can do small and large.
That's great.
So delivery available, and our delivery to Illinois residents is a little bit limited just because we're not able to do the compost or the garden soil deliveries.
But still worth asking. So all great information today. If you want to learn more about products or if you want to drop off yard waste at the facility, just head to davenportcompost.com. You can get the information that you need there. Robin, thank you so much for being here today.
Okay, thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Just ahead on Quad Cities Live, a full check of your first alert forecast. We'll take a look at what to expect for the next 24 hours and beyond. That's right now on Quad Cities Live.
Accurate and reliable. This is your first alert forecast with meteorologist Kyle Keel.
Well, it's certainly a sharp contrast of what we're seeing out here this afternoon compared to this morning. We had some rain move through, generally about a quarter to half inch of rainfall, so a good soaking here before we plan on the heat. But shortly after that rain ended, you broke out into some sunshine. You can certainly see that here on the Everywhere Camera Network. Just a few clouds out and about, but notice in Bettendorf, yes, the American flag waving in the wind. Got that wind that has really picked up out of the south, anywhere from 15 to 30 miles per hour at times. We'll have gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour here, at least through the early evening, and we'll plan on some breezy conditions here heading into tomorrow as well. I don't really think it's going to provide much relief from that heat, though, because it's going to be downright warm. Notice these overnight lows tonight. We're talking mid to upper 70s for your overnight lows, so that just goes to show you we're off to a running start here for those daytime highs here on Saturday. We're talking low to mid 90s potentially here into the afternoon, with heat index between 100 and 105 degrees. Now, actual air temperatures, they'll end up into the mid to potentially upper 90s, not only for tomorrow, but we'll kind of rinse and repeat here into Saturday or Sunday as well as into Monday. So notice we've got mid to upper 90s, but notice we're starting to get a little cooler here off to our northwest as this heat dome starts to break down just a bit. We're going to have complexes of showers and thunderstorms kind of right along the edge of that, and that could get a little close to our region here as we had Monday night into Tuesday. So we've only put the first alert days here through Monday, potentially into Tuesday because of the heat. Again, peak heat index, or what it feels like outside, will be between 100 and 105 degrees, perhaps even a few degrees warmer. So this will be from noon to 9 each day. So certainly you want to find a pool. If you've got a friend who's got a pool, give them a ring this weekend and see if they have room for you. Otherwise, if you're outside, you want to limit your time outdoors. Obviously, stay hydrated, and you'll certainly want to wear a lot of sunscreen and reapply that every hour or two because it is going to be very sunny here this weekend as well. So with that sunshine, our feels like temperatures go from the 80s to the 90s to the 100s really quick here as we head into tomorrow. Again, there's your peak heat index between 104 and 107 here on the map. So dangerously hot out there. Keep in mind your cars heat up very quickly as well. So make sure you look before you lock. We don't want any children to be stuck in this heat, or any pets for that matter as well. Sunday, we start off in the 80s, go quickly into the 90s and 100s, and we'll kind of rinse and repeat here as we head into Monday. So there's that rain that moved through earlier. That is now well off to the south and has been weakening. We are left under a ridge of high pressure, so that means nothing but sunshine here over the next several days. It's also going to be very humid as well. Of course, with that rain in its wake, it's feeling very muggy out there. Dew points will be in the low to mid 70s here, not only through the weekend, but through early next week. So that'll kind of set the stage for the potential for some storms here as we head into next week. So there's a look at the next 7. Again, first alert days here through Monday, and then we start to see storm chances move in Tuesday through Thursday, some of which could be strong to severe. So something that we're going to have to watch over the next several days. Well, coming up on Quad Cities Live, the Quad Cities is being recognized for inclusive tourism. More details on a special designation for our area coming up next.
QC, that's where we work best when we're together. QC, that's where is brought to you by a partnership with the Quad Cities Chamber and Visit Quad Cities.
When planning a trip, accessibility should never be an afterthought, and the Quad Cities has just reached a major milestone in that regard. Our area is officially a Wheel the World verified destination, joining a select group of global locations committed to providing accessible and inclusive tourism experiences. Joining us today from Wheel the World is Sophia Bravo. Sophia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk with you today. You are a visitor to the Quad Cities.
Yes, first time.
Yes, we are happy to have you, so welcome. First, tell us a little bit more about Wheel the World and really the important work that's being done at that organization.
Perfect. So Wheel the World, we are the biggest booking platform for people with disabilities. Okay. So imagine like Booking.com, Expedia, but it's focused on people that have accessibility needs of every type. It can be people with physical disabilities, hearing impairments, visual impairments. There they can find exactly what they're gonna get when they arrive to a destination. Yeah. That way they can really make an accurate decision if certain service or business or activity that they want to do is actually okay for them.
Yeah, it would make their experience much easier that way.
Totally. There's so much uncertainty when you are traveling with a disability that being prepared is crucial.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So the Quad Cities is being recognized. What does it mean for the QC to be recognized as a Wheel the World verified destination?
Yeah, we are so excited about that because Quad Cities actually, it's one of the destinations that opened the doors towards the accessible travel market. Oh. You know that the accessible travel market, it's not only something that is important for us to tackle as human beings, but also a business opportunity. Yeah. Like in the US, people with accessibility needs spend over $58 billion. So actually Quad Cities is opening the doors towards this environment, doing something amazing for the humanity and also for the tourism here.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling to be able to do that, not only for our businesses, but also for our visitors.
Yes.
It's something that I feel like our Tourism Bureau, Visit Quad Cities, has been very focused on and continues to be. So let's do some differentiation. Okay, so this isn't just about ADA compliance.
No.
It goes far beyond that.
Exactly, because you cannot say that something is accessible, is not accessible, it's not a white or black issue. Mm-hmm. This is about providing the accessibility information because there's no one size fit all. Some people may need a high bed, other people need a low bed, so you cannot standardize that.
Right.
So however your business is, that is good. It's only about telling the world what do you have so they can be prepared and make a decision and bring support, people, or just know what to expect.
Yeah, and I think people who are, lucky enough to not have to think of those things, they don't really realize that the standard is not necessarily just enough.
Exactly.
People have questions that are beyond that. So just to say you're compliant, it doesn't really go far enough for a lot of folks, depending on what their situation is.
Exactly.
So that's very big. So the platform, Wheel the World's platform, kind of talk a little bit about how it addresses challenges more specifically and makes travel and planning travel a little bit easier for folks who are dealing with disabilities.
Exactly. So for example, now someone that wants to come here, they can just write, for example, Quad Cities area, and they will be able to find a list of hotels, activities that they can actually see, many details. They will find more than 100 data points that we have mapped, and that now they can see and be prepared. That it's not available in any other booking platform, so it's crucial.
Okay, and we're seeing some images that were provided right now. We saw somebody measuring the height of a bed. I mean, all of that stuff, I think, you know, many of us take for granted all the time. So it is great to be one of the places that is really seeing that and putting it into action. So talk a little bit about how travelers can use this. Like, for example, beyond hotels, let's talk attractions. There are a number of them that they're going to be able to plan a trip with.
Yes.
Now.
Yes. Now
in the Quad Cities.
Exactly. Now they know they can go to the Figge Art Museum, for example, and just open the door. They will know exactly how is the toilet there, so they can know what to expect. They will know that there's a ramp, how the doors opens, so they will know if they can go alone or they need to go with someone else. Also the water taxi that you have in the channel. So all those type of things, now they know, is there a ramp? Can they do it? So for seniors or people with wheelchairs, now they know what to expect.
Yeah, that's great. And we have a list on the screen right now for folks who are watching us on TV. John Deere Pavilion, Channel Cat, as you just mentioned, the Current Iowa, which is in downtown Davenport. So they're going to be able to find information about all of these places, which are tourist attractions to everybody all the time, especially during the summer months. So it's great. I want you to talk a little bit more about somebody with a disability, or you talked about senior citizens, how stressful and difficult it can be to plan a trip without this information, because it kind of pulls at my heartstrings a little bit. Imagining planning a trip with, with your entire family. You're the one with a disability or something that maybe feels a little more limiting, and you can't do the thing or go to the place that everybody else had planned to go to.
Exactly, and that's what you described is exactly what people with accessibility needs felt. Like, if they don't see the information, they don't know what to expect, they don't know if they can do it with their family, and that gives so much anxiety because you cannot be prepared for it. So it's so important that they can do it. They don't know if they will be able to use the restrooms. Like, imagine not knowing if you will be able to use the restroom.
Terrifying.
Or if you will be able to transfer to a bed in an hotel. So what if they cannot transfer? What if they don't have space under the bed to put a Hoyer lift? It's so important to know that information, because if not, they can bring their own. That's why opening the doors towards being mapped and verified, it's crucial, because now they can be prepared. So that's why I'm so happy for Quad Cities.
Well, we're very proud. Talk a little bit about the criteria that Wheel the World uses. When you visit a place, what are some of the things that you're looking for to designate a community or a region as Wheel the World verified?
As we mentioned here, like, we're not saying you are accessible or you're not. It's all about providing the information. So we send our mappers, that is what you saw before on the TV. So it's people with a special app, a measuring tape, taking photos to get all this information. Over 200 data points. They will measure, for example, the width of the ramp to go to the water taxi. They will be able to take photos of the restroom there in the museum, so that you will know if there's a grab bar to use it. So it's 200 data points.
It's a lot of work. Complete. It's a lot of work, though.
And it's a lot of work, but it's something that you just do it once. For an hotel, doing this is super easy and straightforward. It doesn't take much more than 1 hour. And you have all this information. It is so important. It brings
more people to your hotel and to your location.
Everybody should be doing this. It's so important for the world. And the population is just growing older. You and me are going to need this information soon.
Don't I know it?
We will. So we better do something now. Like, the population is growing older. Every year we have over 11,000 Americans that turn over 65 years old. Every day. Population is increasing.
Sure is.
Seniors. So we need to take care, and it's important to know where are we standing. We're no one to judge. We're going to help you to know how accessible you are. Maybe what things can you change in your business to be even more accessible to everybody.
And who wouldn't want that? Sophia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much.
Coming up on Quad Cities Live, expert advice on introducing intentional challenges at work and how that can spark innovation, engagement, and growth for both employees and organizations. Details next on QCO.
In today's corporate world, we often hear about the importance of making things easier, more streamlined and frictionless. But what if making things harder could actually be the key to greater productivity? Our next guest has some thought-provoking ideas about why sometimes it's smarter to add a little complexity into the mix. Andrea Belk-Olsen is the CEO of Pragmatic, and she is here to talk more about creating better outcomes with some intentional challenges. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being here today. I love all your insight all the time. And you're a business consultant and a coach, so you work with many companies through Pragmatic and otherwise. So you recently wrote an article about challenging conventional wisdom of making everything easier in the workplace. So let's start out by having you kind of explain what you mean when you say sometimes it is smarter to make things harder.
Yep, absolutely. I'm really talking about intentional complexity. So taking moments and making it actually harder, forcing critical thinking, forcing people to analyze their ideas and work through a problem. Because with this frictionless environment that we have and the push towards that, we kind of lose that critical thinking. And we kind of diminish that skill. And actually, 80% of employers are looking for that skill. They say it's the most important skill they need, actually above and beyond college degrees.
Somebody who can think critically in any type of scenario. I mean, it makes sense. So you mentioned in the article that everything is designed to be easy, so people stop thinking. And you kind of just alluded to that. How does that really impact both short-term and long-term productivity at an organization?
Well, short-term, it seems great, right? Everything's efficient. But in the long term, we kind of get trapped and tied to those rigid processes. Those things that, you know, become autopilot, and we don't really think about the why. We don't think about the purpose, and the challenge is we lose that critical thinking skill.
Yeah, and you talk about intentional complexity can lead to greater cognitive engagement. So I guess talking more in this instance about employee development and innovation with the organization, how does that impact employees specifically?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is that it builds mental muscle, right? So when you have people challenged to think critically, they're put outside their comfort zone. And they're in an environment where maybe it's different, but that really encourages them and helps them grow and develop in a way that helps them tackle these weird challenges and problems through practice and repetition.
Being more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So they're when they face a bit of complexity, they become better at spotting patterns, anticipating problems sometimes before they arise.
Exactly.
Things like that are what you talk about in this article. So in what ways can companies, I suppose, encourage this kind of learning and agility?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is to create an environment where questions can be asked and questions are encouraged. Questions that push the status quo, ask why things are being done, look at new perspectives and new ways to do things, and start building that behavior as something that's a habit within and across the organization.
I feel like, you talk about that it shouldn't be a maze, but people shouldn't be spoon-fed either. So it's a balancing act from what it sounds like, which I think is wherein the difficulty may lie for an organization or a business, because finding that balance is so crucial but can be so difficult. So how can a business do that without overwhelming their employees?
Right. Well, think about it as like, let's say it was like resistance training. You don't want not enough because you won't grow, but too much you can cause injury. So what you need to do is be intentional about where you put that complexity in, into a challenge that has been hanging around a long time, that needs different perspectives, and something that really adds a lot of value to the organization.
Okay, so let's talk actionable steps. What are some actionable steps that organizations can take to introduce complexities to their processes without, of course, as we discussed, creating some frustration among employees? I mean, transparency here, I feel like, is very key. I mean, being open and honest about, you know, evolving with your employees.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think there's two things that come to mind. One is what I like to call think moments. And think moments are those discussions where you're kind of maybe challenged of what was your thought process behind this decision? What are the things you considered? Did you look at different angles, and kind of force you to articulate that mentality? The second thing is, I think we don't need to be so dependent on templates. There's a lot of organizations that have processes and templates. They say fill this in and move on, and you kind of again lose that ability to say, why are we doing this, where are we going, and what are we trying to achieve?
Yeah, not necessarily everything fits in that box. Depending on what, what business you're in and what organization you're working with. So is there a way to kind of measure or track employee development over time, especially when it comes to something like this? I mean, let's say, we have Andrea come in and help our company introduce some of these complexities, some of these challenges. Is there a way to measure that over time and go, wow, you know what, this was a great idea, and this is what I'm seeing because of it?
Yeah, I think the thing that you're going to see and be able to track the easiest is employee behaviors. Are they asking the right questions? Are they looking at new ideas? Are they exploring new perspectives? And you're going to start to see that grow and snowball over time as that behavior becomes habit.
Okay, so as a strategic change agency, we're talking about Pragmatic now. You're a consulting business. So how does Pragmatic work with clients to implement some of these things? I mean, where would we start if we called you up and said, hey, come help us?
Yeah, sure. We use a proprietary process called a steering guide, and it's not a template, it's not an answer sheet, but it's meant to help employees ask better questions, right questions, and work through that kind of process where they're analyzing and understanding what they're trying to achieve. So that means, how can we do this different? How can we look at it different? And that really kind of helps elevate the, mental agility of the organization overall.
Okay, and so if businesses want to start creating some environments where they are challenging and engaging their employees, let's say they're not ready to start working with a consulting company right off the bat, are there places that they can start to do this? I mean, where can they start?
Sure. I think there's two very basic steps to it.
Okay.
One is decide what is the most important, complex, unwieldy challenge you have that you need different perspectives and new ideas to really elevate. And then second, work through that process with your team, gather small groups, and start challenging them to think about new ways to do it. It's something that's not going to come quickly. It's going to take time. It might be sloppy and slow. But as you'll see, when you build that mental muscle, you're going to get a lot better output.
I love that. Yeah, really an interesting take. And if you want to hear more from Andrea, which of course you do, from articles to podcasts to TED Talks, you can visit her on the web at andreabelkolson.com. And of course, to learn more about consulting services through Pragmatic, visit pragmatic.com. Andrea, thank you so much. The article is great and the insight is great. Lots of just thought-provoking points there.
Yeah, so fantastic. Thank you so much
for being here. Thank you.
And that wraps up our special potpourri edition of Quad